So Elon Musk and Donald Trump recently had a press conference, and it's a good reminder that when you elect a clown, you get a circus, and when you elect two clowns, I guess you get a festival of circuses. That's the subject of today's video. Guys, this is actually a tough video to make. I'll show you a picture here. Elon Musk defends cost-cutting efforts in Oval Office. There's Elon with his kid crawling all over him. That's really what it was. And honestly, this is why am I saying it's a hard video to make. If you want to watch the press conference, you can. There's like a half-hour video out there. It's pretty cringeworthy, and I was like, do I really want to torture my viewers by making them listen to his voice? I'll just say this: you don't really need to watch it. It's as bad as you think it would be. I will say this: I showed my wife this as well because we were talking about this. Is this child abuse? And this is, I think it's a legitimate question. In this particular scene, his kid was coughing during the press conference, and it was just kind of weird. There's one point where the kid even said no when the reporter asked one of the questions. That was just strange. Actually, I'll play a little bit, have a watch.
From any conflicts of interest that you may have, does that mean that you are in effect policing yourself? What are the checks and balances that are in place to ensure that there is accountability and transparency?
No. Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, our actions...
So you clearly heard the kids say no, and that's something I'm wondering about the security thing with the kid. When you're taking kid to all sort of, agencies everywhere. And someone mentioned that before. I thought it was a legitimate question. Why am I starting with the kid stuff is because, frankly, I don't think I've ever seen this in my life. I just haven't. Now, to Elon Musk's defense, this is what he was tweeting out. He was trying to compare John F. Kennedy, and I don't know which kid that would have been. You guys can let me know if you're older, which one that would have been. That is the same as Elon bringing his kid. I don't know the context of this Kennedy photo. Was Kennedy giving a speech at that time or talking to the press? Or was this hanging out in the office and the kid was there? I don't know. So I'm trying to be fair. I don't know. And for those of you who live for this stuff, did Kennedy give policy speeches with his kid crawling around him? I'm going to assume no, but again, if I'm wrong, please correct me. I generally don't see that with anyone doing this. And for those people who say, oh, Chris, you're so dumb. Elon just loves kids, it's like, well, how many CEOs or how many, politicians bring their kid, have them crawl over them? When they give a press conference about and the stuff they're talking about is cutting your Social Security, taking your jobs, these kind of things. Like you're talking actually about serious things that affect people's lives, but that's how he treats it, as you can see. It's bring your kid to work day every day. I say body shield. He started doing this after the whole event with the healthcare CEO and Luigi thing. So if you guys know about that. Here it says Trump signs executive order giving DOGE more power. I guess that's what we want. There's so many problems with this, and I know I'm kind of going off on tangents, but I think for me, I was just disgusted watching the whole thing. To be perfectly frank, the thing that really stands out to me, and I know when you mention this stuff, people get really sensitive with this stuff, but I'll just tell you my honest opinion is. There's a saying for people who aren't like a Musk or Trump, and I'll just be blunt about it. Say the white dude. If you're not that, you have to work twice as hard for half as much if you don't have the advantages of being part of the, the boys club, essentially. For me, if I behaved in this way in any of my job interviews or any of my public lectures, bringing a kid, having it crawl over me, I would be a pretty big downside, right? People would say like, what the heck is Chris doing? It's just, or if I talk in the way that Musk does, where he makes jokes all the time. And again, this is in regards to people's Social Security, people's jobs, very serious things. And they just talk about cutting. And the other thing that I thought was quite interesting about the talk, it was a lot of it, he kept talking about how the government's going to go bankrupt, etc. and I'll say this, the one thing that I think with the Musks and the Trumps is the things that they're kind of going through in their lives, it seeps out into their daily talk. So as I mentioned you guys before, Musk's under a lot of pressure. He's got like multiple kids, maybe 10 kids at this point. And also too, I think that's weird. So, okay, where are the other kids? So are you literally saying every day that this particular one kid, I think you named the kid X, I think that's actually the kid's name is X. Are you declaring that X is your favorite kid over all the other kids? I mean, how's it make the other kids feel? Then you got multiple companies to run, yet you're not even there. You're at the White House all the time. What's going on with your companies? How do they feel? On top of that, what does it say? This is, I'll show you guys what they say here. This is his fanboys, because he retweets them out all the time. That says, how can any rational American, regardless of politics, oppose the argument Elon Musk makes here on cutting the budget deficit in half and increasing economic growth as a result? Just basic common sense. So that's according to them, that we'll just cut everything and suddenly, I guess, we're going to increase our economic growth. Here's the thing, guys. These people, they never actually talk about raising taxes. They just want to cut taxes for their rich people, the rich friends, all the billionaires, and then cut your services. That's what they're talking about all the time. Hey, let's cut that Social Security. Let's cut those VA stuff. Let's cut as much as we can. Let's cut education while we're at it. Oh wait, no, there's more. Let's cut healthcare things. Oh, you know what? Let's cut transportation stuff. We got to keep finding cuts because it's all about wasting money on the poor people. Why would we want to do that? And on top of that, let's cut tax breaks for the wealthy. Oh yeah, good idea. And that's their plan. And it's interesting because Republicans have always kind of been on that path, right, where they want to tax cuts for the wealthy, cut services to everyone else. But when you really see it in this way and expressed through Elon Musk, you really see the what's I would say, you call it corruption. I would say the misuse of sort of the role, in my opinion, what government should be for. For example, I actually want government to stop corruption. I don't want business people to come in and just buy the White House like this. The whole press conference, it really just felt like, yeah, that's definitely President Musk. And I feel like, and because Trump was silent this whole time, which let Musk speak, I guess. It's his turn to speak. He is the president. It was really obvious when you watch this stuff. I think the other thing that really bothered me about this as well is the way the reporters would ask questions, and they would actually ask him, questions, and basically must just make stuff up. And it's kind of hard to show any clips of Musk or Trump these days because they lie constantly, right? And so that's always the issue we end up, and this is I guess kind of the game that they get us to play, is, okay, I'll tell 100 lies and you'll be, busy trying to debunk my 100 lies, and then while you're doing that, I'm gonna go steal your Social Security, that kind of stuff, right? And so, like, in the situation I always mention, which isn't really headlines every day, which should be, is Donald Trump signed the executive order to create the sovereign wealth fund. And basically their whole plan is to create that new agency, the External Revenue Service, the ERS, get that tariff money, siphon money into other government cuts, throw it in that sovereign wealth fund, take that sovereign wealth fund money, basically a big slush fund, and put that into Musk companies' ventures, all his buddies' ventures, and build that AI to replace all of you, right? That's their goal. Is to basically, again, cut your services, cut taxes to the wealthy, replace you with robots, and then on top of that, bring your kid to work day. Cause, this is fun. It's fun. I'm playing government, for 4 years or whatever, maybe longer. How Musk finds this interesting, and my car company's failing, and my competitors are beating me. Why not do something else, right? And on Musk's behalf, sure. Why not? I mean, you can teach your kid to run the dynasty. There's a bunch of pictures of the kid out there. He's got a gold chain, etc. And he's just a kid. So, I'm not really hating on the kid. Just more, don't bring kid to work for this kind of stuff. It ruins the whole thing, at least for me. If you guys have differences, you can let me know.
Problems starting in other countries that then come to the United States.
Yeah, so that's an interesting example. So that's something where we work closely with the State Department and Secretary Rubio. And we have, for example, turned on funding for Ebola prevention and for HIV prevention.
Some particular things, for example, it says, asked about Trump administration's false assertion that the federal government sent 50 million worth of condoms to Gaza, the billionaire acknowledged that he might at times promote erroneous information. So he said, at times I say false things. He says, there's a quote, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. Nobody is going to bat 1,000. Is that kind of stuff. Or he talked about the daily scrutinies, like daily proctology exam. I mean, the guy's all over the map. And that's why I said I wondered if I should make you listen to any of this stuff. And I was like, you know what? No, I'll just tell you about it. The crazy stuff that Musk says on Twitter X is actually how he is in real life. I don't know what he's on exactly. We know he's on some substances, but I think there's a lot more. And I think the way to read this stuff is, if you're ever curious who Musk is, he basically tells you and shows you on a daily basis. And as I said from the beginning, for me, I get frustrated because, like, if I behaved in his way, did all the crap that he did, I mean, it wouldn't go anywhere. But the difference with Musk is he looks a certain way, which some people prefer. And you can do all sorts of stuff as Hate Seth. You can abuse as many people as you want, and, you know, multiple wives, these kind of things. That's how these people are, and you'll be part of the boys' club. But you know, if you don't look in that category, or if you're a female, you know, you have to work twice as hard for half as much. And I think that's the overall frustration I have with this, is the incompetency and this lack of decorum that you get, or privilege to have, when you're of this particular category of person. And that's how I read this. So if you guys disagree, you can let me know, and I'll catch you all in the next video.